What's going on, guys? Big welcome to you all to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta. You're here with D-Boy. I'm here for you guys with another video on the Premium Collection 2020 reveals. And today we have two reveals, one from Great Nature and the other one is from Nova Capitalist. Let's start with the Great Nature one because we are, for me as well, way more excited about this card than the other one. So this guy's name, which I will definitely will not try to pronounce because how do you pronounce that? I don't know. But let's read the skill and talk about it for a little bit. So he has two abilities. The first one is when your card is put from Vanguard or deck into the drop zone, you may put that on the bottom of your deck. It's a pretty important ability. It does help with Great Nature not getting decking out, because they're already doing that even before the mechanic of milling, but now with that even more. And the second ability is when your rearguard attacks, you Soul Blast 1 and you turn one card face up from your G zone. And then that unit gets plus 5k until the end of the battle for each face up card you have in your G zone. And then you retire that unit at the end of the battle. Alright, so it's a turbo flip. Every time that the rearguard attacks, you may Soul Blast 1 and then you could flip something from your G zone, something that we have seen in Nova Grapplers. Now we see that in Great Nature. So what does this mean? Well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the art and the flavor text. The flavor text is studies the crisis and turn them into chances. So, or into a chance. So that's pretty amazing, especially in these times of crisis that we have right now because of the corona virus. So what he's saying is he is trying to create chances, and that's exactly what this guy is doing. About the art, first when I looked at him I thought, well, what the hell is this? And then when I really looked at the card and it will be a triple rare, I thought, well, actually it does look amazing. I do like the way that he's actually kind of chilling in the library and having kind of not a robe but something around his neck, what a judge also could wear. That does mean that he has the knowledge, all books flying around him like he's looking for something or trying to learn. Look also at that finger that he's making with his right hand. It does look like it's broken, but a lot of small details, but does really make the card look amazing. The flavor text is also on point. It's exactly what he's doing. Then let's talk a little bit about how does this fit the clan. When you think about this card, there are a lot of cards that comes in mind, but especially these four. You're turboing into the G zone. That would mean that you will be able to get to your GB8 if you use 2 G guards, one flip G guard and one normal G guard. Because when you stride into this guy as a first stride, I will tell you later when you would do that, but when you stride into this guy as a first stride, what you pretty much gonna do is you have an Excel circle, and it doesn't matter what you call to the field, you will call 3 rearguards, and those 3 rearguards will attack, so you have 3 attacks, and you need 3 soul, but you already have 3 soul because you have your starter, which is the V starter, that's the one that Great Nature used, and then you have the Great 1, the Great 2, so you have 3 souls. Even if you haven't soul charged, you didn't do anything in the hurricane, you have 3 soul. But you have options to soul charge. And I've talked with Tim from our channel a lot about this this morning, and he was so excited to see this card. Because what you're gonna do is you will flip 3 cards and then he goes back to your G zone, having 4 cards face up in your G zone. Which means if you G guard twice, you get to the GB8. You do not even need to G guard, you get into Soha. If you G guard once or even do not G guard, you could have a very strong Bara rule turn. And of course, don't forget you still have your Managarma. So where does this guy fit into the G zone? Well, he fits exactly into what Great Nature is missing. Great Nature ended up having so much finishers that they do not have a setup card, because Managarmr is definitely not a setup card. It's a finisher, but a different way. And Barrow is a finisher. The GB8 is a finisher, which they don't really go into that much because they do not want to turbo into the G zone that fast with their G guards, because they have very strong, good G guards. And you also have Zoa, which is a finisher. And pretty much with your rear guards, with your restanding abilities, anything could be a finisher with a good drive check. That's why Managarmr is so good. But this guy gives you like the setup to that point, which you have more cards face up in your G zone, which you could also like attack with your triggers, put them to the bottom of your deck, because you could do that, because this guy said when they get retired or they go from field to the drop zone or go from deck to the drop zone, you put them to the bottom. So let's say you call 3 triggers. You attack with the first trigger, which is chilling on an Excel circle. You attack with that, you soul plus 1, he gets an extra 5k. So let's say it's XL2, so that's a 15k attacker. At the end of the battle, goes to the bottom of the deck. Then you attack with the other one on your rear guard, or you attack first with him, or her, or it, and then you could like split triggers if you get triggers, and then you attack with the others. And the second trigger, if without triggers, without power, without anything, it's a 5k, but it gets 10k from him, so it's another 15k, so it hits, and then it goes to the bottom of the deck because it gets retired, and the last trigger will hit for 20 to get to the bottom of the deck. And then if you have milled something with this ability, or the ability of something like your tigers, your monochrome tiger or the other tiger, binoculars tiger, and if you mill something, it goes to the bottom of the deck, of course. So that's also good because you get to that stack of triggers that you already got rid of on your first stride. So even that works. Milling a trigger goes to the bottom of the deck, it works. And in Great Nature, it's very easy to get to that stack. So that's another thing that you could do. You could stack your deck, you could have a very strong barrel turn, your Zoa turn becomes easier as a second stride, and you have access to the GB8. Managarmr is just another option to go into. So where will you go into this guy? Well, pretty much talking with Tim gave me a very good idea, because he understands the deck very well. It's the same as Maxime from Solvent Vanguard. They both of them play Great Nature very well, and Tim also gets in discussions with Maxime multiple times on how good a card is and whatnot. And for him it was very clear that if you want to finish your opponent on the first stride, you will not go into him that fast. Although if you combine him with a rear guard that could not get destroyed by a skill, so it cannot get retired by card effect. If you have that rear guard on Excel circle, let's say the promo 6k grade 1, you attack with that first, or you attack first with your Vanguard. If you get triggers, you put it on that. Let's say you get 1 critical trigger, so that's a 10k and a crit. So the 6k becomes 16k, with the circle behind it being an XL2 being a 21k. You attack for 21, activate his ability, Soul Blast 1, give that an extra 5k, so that's 26. Then you attack with something like a Crayon Tiger. You attack with a Crayon Tiger, boosted Crayon Tiger skill activates, restands that grade 1, which already attacked for 26. And you could use his skill again, depending on how much soul you have, to give the Crayon Tiger also another 10k, because you have now 2 face-up cards, and the Crayon Tiger gets retired. And then you attack again with that rear guard, but now you have 2 face-up cards in the G-Zone, activate the skill again, 3 face-up cards in the G-Zone, so that would be not 26, but it would be 36 with a crit. And you could do that again if you have another Crayon Tiger on the field, or you have a Big Belly. And you could do those kind of things also on the first stride if you want to. But Managarmr does that better, because Managarmr could give you more drive checks. So another option, you could go Managarmr, you could go to this guy if you want to do a setup. If you want to go in between the two, then you could still go Barrow as your first stride, because it does put pressure and just throw you cards. But all in all, an amazing card. Art, perfect, skill on point. It's not just overpowered, it's just what Great Nature needed. The same as Kagero, but this guy is not that simple. You could misplay him, you could do a lot of bad things playing him, but you could also do a lot of good things. So depend on the skill of the Great Nature player, how they could use or abuse this card for their full potential or not. And that's the nice thing about this guy. I think Great Nature players, real Great Nature players, are very happy with this. They could understand what this guy is capable of. But these are just fast ideas that what this guy is capable of. There is one thing that I actually expected this guy to have, is her first skill to be Vanguard and G-Zone. Why did I say that? It's because Great Nature, in my opinion, especially in Premium, deserve to have that. Like, if this guy is chilling in your G-Zone, then every time you mill a card to the drop zone, it could go back to the bottom of the deck. But again, you cannot do that if the skill keeps saying drop zone and G-Zone. I mean drop zone and field, because that would mean that deck and rearguard, because it would mean that anything that gets retired, the whole game will go back to the bottom of the deck. So that would not be as balanced as it should be. But if this card was only whenever a card is sent from the deck to the drop zone, you could put that to the bottom. If that was only the skill, then I think he would have been Vanguard and G-Zone. But now, because he does field and deck, that pretty much you cannot say that he could do that in the G-Zone as well. But again, I'm very happy with this guy. I do play Great Nature in Premium sometimes, and it does make me happy to see a card like this being announced for Great Nature. Okay, now we have to go to talk about how the clan will work in the format. Well, in Worlds about two years ago, we have seen representation of Great Nature. And I don't remember how Worlds was this year, because again, I was very busy with college, so I didn't put too much effort into it. But Great Nature is a clan that always gets represented, especially with XL2, and now with even the caln retirement that they have to their disposal, with their G-Guards and the Grade 3 that retires. It's really good. Great Nature is chilling as a very good, let's say, place in Premium. But they are not OP. They do not have that first stride kill. They do need to get into their second stride. And the Great Nature players understand that perfectly, is they need to get to the second stride. Oh, I remember that there was some representation for Worlds with Great Nature, because I've seen the match of Chris van der Linde with Kagero against Great Nature player, which PG'd 4 times. But I do remember that. Okay, so back to this card, how the clan would work, and how this card will push the clan. It will not push it that high. Great Nature will still do the same thing, but they have more options. They could finish off on the second stride easily if they go into this guy, because they have every second stride to their disposal. They could use anything they want to, and that's why this guy is so good. And that's actually it about Great Nature. Now we get to Nova Grapplers, and yes, a lot of you are not happy with this, but let's talk a little bit about the good and the bad about this guy. So, first of all, the name, the skill, the arts, let's talk about that. So let's talk about her. That's one thing that we need to get right. This is not a king, this is a queen. Look at those hips, look at the body, look at the way she stands. This is, even the head, this is a queen, this is not a king. So here we have Heteromorphic Dragon Queen Azdabulk, if I'm saying that correctly. So what this queen does is, when it attacks, you counterblast 1, and you turn a card from your G-Zone face up, and then you stand all of your front row rearguards. And this guy, girl, queen, gets plus 5k for each of the units you stand in. Okay, so why are people saying that this guy, girl, queen is bad? First of all, when we talk about Nova Grapplers, we know that a lot of your rearguards restand themselves, or restand others. What the Stride normally did is he sometimes restanded one rearguard, but pretty much the Stride restanded itself. It gave more drive checks, it gave more flip targets, it did a lot more than just restand your front row. Then you would say, hey D-Boy, but Kagero also got the end of the stick. Kagero also got a bad, mediocre Stride. Well, that's not the case, because Kagero and Link Joker, well, Link Joker is on another level, but Kagero got the ability to retire the whole field without paying anything, no counterblast, nothing. And that's something that Kagero actually needed, because Kagero did not have that retirement power anymore that Kagero normally, originally had. But Nova Grapplers still restands, and on your first stride you have one Excel circle, which means that you have 3 units in the front row, and your almost all the other strides restand 1, and now this Queen restand 2 more, so you have a restanding field. But this skill misses some things. First of all, cost Counterblast. Why? There is no reason for this guy to cost Counterblast because the others do not. So I don't see why this costs Counterblast. Second of all, if you added a skill that said put 1 card from your hand on the top of your deck, or put 1 front trigger from your hand on the top of your deck, like an extra skill, and with that you say like every time you reveal a front trigger you get +5, not +10, just +5. And that's good, that's perfect, because now you could combine them with gold hands, and that give the Nova Grappler player just a little bit more. But now you're giving them a stride, which, yes, it's just like the others. You could put it in the Nova Grappler Plus build, but there is no Nova Grappler Plus build, because Victor has so many good rare cards that you usually go back and play Victor, or go back and play those Victor rare cards. You could, I don't know, I think that's a lot of you guys are not missing the point, but are exactly on point when you're saying that this guy or queen are bad. Okay, let's go back and talk a little bit about the art, then we go and talk about how this skill fits the clan. Well, first the flavor text and the art. The flavor text is right below, as you can see, which is a heteromorphic dragon. Its personality is terrifyingly aggressive. Well, good for her, she's aggressive, she's a queen. And it's saying it's, well, it should have been hers. The art, no. Yeah, definitely no. I'm a big fan of the color purple and the color blue, as you can see in the wings. But why is this an Nova Grappler card? This could have been a Link Joker card. But the art, in my opinion, it has something. I could see people liking it, but for me, I don't really like it. I don't think that it fits Nova Grappler. If this was in Link Joker, then I would say, well, actually a very unique art, but no, not in Nova Grappler. This looks a lot like the Nation Stride, the Progenitor Dragon that they've got. But yeah, this is definitely not the art that should have been in yeah, Nova Grapplers. Then we talk about the flavor text a little bit. Yeah, okay, she's terrifyingly aggressive. Well, she will not be played that much, so yeah, she will be aggressive in the G zone. Whoopie-doo. How does this fit the clan? Well, yeah, it fits the clan perfectly because it's restand the front row. But it's not what the clan needed. It is something that the clan already had. It does nothing for the clan. This will do nothing, especially because we have these three. You have favorite champ, which is on another level, but it cannot be a first stride. You have the Bustard, you have the one, the Victor. Both of them flip cards from your G-Zone, which are a very good setup card, but also finishers. So if you play cards from the good hand deck, then you would need more drive checks, so you would play those. If you want to have a good setup for your GB8, because for Nova Grapplers have very good GB8, if you want to set up for your favorite champ, you would definitely go to those two. There is no fucking reason to go for her, because she is not a good first stride. Because you counterblast it. If you play a vanilla deck, well, yes, maybe you could play this, but you could also play the Cray Elemental. I mean, are they really seeing that this could work in Nova Grapplers? Is this really what Nova Grapplers are missing? Or maybe I am missing the point. Maybe they didn't look at the G-Zone at all. They just gave decks, two options. That's the next thing, because I'm finished about her. I don't want to talk about her for more, because I'm seeing some good things about her, but most of all bad things. So what will this do for the clan and Nova Grapplers? It would do nothing, because Nova Grappler could still be the same with this guy or without her. Okay, so let's talk now a little bit about the set, the Premium Collection set, because we have seen a very good Great Nature Solid Stride, exactly what the clan needed. Not a finisher as a top card, because the clan already has a lot of finishers. So now we come to the conclusion that we see three things right here. Three type of strides, that's what I meant. So three. First one is that Bushiroad looked at the G-Zone and they created something that the clan needed if the clan already had a finisher. Second thing is, Bushiroad looked at the G-Zone and gave the clan kind of a finisher. Well, they didn't do that because they did that in the last Premium Collection set, so that's not right. So what is right is Bushiroad gave the clan a standard plus option, like they did that for, let's say, Murokumu, because Murokumu got a standard plus stride that works perfectly with the current standard deck they have. Okay, in time there will be different grade 3s, maybe you cannot use that stride anymore. Yes, that will happen. Well, they also gave some clans a timeless stride, like the one from Royal Polden and the one from Gear Chronicle. Okay, D-Boy, what are you trying to say? Well, I'm trying to say is that the standard plus stride is understandable because it does push the sales for Bushiroad, and it does make people that play standard want to play premium too, because they could just get some G guards, they get that new stride, maybe the stride from the last Premium Collection set, and the deck is playable. The standard deck is playable in premium. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. But just don't make it brain dead as the one from Murokumu and Katrina from last set. Don't do that. So the second thing what I talked about is that Bushiroad is really looking into the G-Zone and creating something that the clan really needed. And that happens with Great Nature. I don't know if that is just luck, or with Kagero, it's perfect what the clan is needed, but very simple, and it does look very underwhelming, but it's not. It's definitely not. It's good. You remember, I'm a Kagero player myself. I've talked to different Kagero players and they're happy with it. Okay, it was the first card, maybe they feel a little bit underwhelming, it misses something, but they are okay with it because it does what the clan needed and we still have them cheat, which is the perfect first, second, third, and whatever stride you want to go into. And okay, so why is the Nova Grappler strides look like this? Why is this queen looking like this? This, if you look at her, this means that Bushiroad did not look at the G-Zone at all. It was just dumb luck that they gave Kagero what Kagero should have done, which is retirement power, and that retirement power fits into the G-Zone perfectly, but this doesn't. This resends the front row. Does put pressure on your opponent. Yes, agreed, but does it put as much pressure as the other first strides? Well, then you say, yeah, but the other first strides need a little bit of setup. You need to have the right regards to restand and stuff. Well, yes, agreed, but you're building your deck that way. And with her, what will you put in your deck? The God Hand cards that like get power and then you could restand it with her? Okay, I would still rather play something that has more drive checks. We talked about this, and we talked about the set in general, and now I need to hear your thoughts about this, because we will wait until more reveals are coming. We will wait until the whole set is complete. Then we will put the strides, which one is better and which one is good. We normally don't do that because it depends on the player himself or herself how they would abuse that stride. But for me, this set looks like it's trying to complete two things. The first thing is complete the G-Zone and what we have got in the last Premium Collection set. So trying to complete the deck. And the second thing that it's trying to do is to create standard plus decks. If you do not already have a stride that makes this deck standard plus, then this set is giving you that. And that's actually it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I myself and our team from Crushing the Meta are definitely enjoying making these videos for you guys. I'm sorry that the last video was a little bit too late because it was like 1 or 2 days after the reveal, but we had like we didn't have the exact right moment to discuss it with each other, because again, we do discuss these kind of things. And also thanks for Robin, Glacian, of course Varian, and Blazing Paladin Chris for giving me the enough thoughts about the last video, because we have done a very good video on the Royal Paladin Stride, because that one has a lot of potential with the one from Gears. The same as this Great Nature one, but this Great Nature sits in another level. These are finishers and good setup cards, while this guy is more like a setup card and could be a finisher. Okay, thanks again for watching. Remember to sub to our channel, check our Facebook group if you're on Facebook, because there we post a lot more. And we also now have a Discord channel. You could check that. You could discuss some strides with us or something else. And you will find the links, all of the links, in the description section below. You will also find the links to the other videos if you want to check them out. Again, thanks for watching. Until next time.